The Ontario government has introduced legislation that would end a 2-month strike at York University. Tens of thousands of students have been out of class since the beginning of March, when graduate teaching assistants, contract faculty, and graduate research assistants started picketing. If passed, the legislation would put all outstanding issues between the union and the university to binding mediation arbitration. The two sides have 5 days to agree on a mediator arbitrator before one is appointed. York is offering a tuition credit for students who have been impacted.
The provincial government has introduced legislation aimed at ending the 2-month strike at York University. If passed, any outstanding issues would be sent to binding mediation arbitration. And the two sides would have 5 days to agree on a mediator arbitrator before one is appointed by the Minister of Labour. The strike by contract faculty and graduate teaching and research assistants began March 5th.
Government introduced back-to-work legislation for striking York University workers. The proposed bill comes as striking workers took their fight to Queen's Park this afternoon for a rally. If the legislation passes, it would require any strike or lockout to come to an end.
People have watched this movie before. They've seen that the Liberals, after 15 years, have left us with turmoil in post-secondary. And so this isn't the first strike, as we know. What we hope to do when we form government is to not only fund universities and colleges so that they can have decent work for their professors and their faculty, but that also means the standard of education at our post-secondary institutions will be greater.
The NDP should look at what the Commissioner's report has said, which is that there is no path to an agreement with these two parties. And, I would just say it's pretty irresponsible of them to block the one way that we can get this done over the next couple of days. So I think they're going to have to look to their own conscience if they don't support back to work.
About 3,000 teaching assistants and contract faculty have been on the picket line since March 5th.
The Ontario government introduced legislation today that would end the strike at York University, which has now entered its second month. Some 3,000 teaching assistants and contract faculty have been walking the picket line since March 5th. Some took their fight to Queen's Park this afternoon in the wake of the legislation being introduced. If passed, it would require any strike or lockout at York to be terminated.
The strike currently impacts thousands of students, their families, and their communities. If passed, striking York University workers would be required to return to their jobs, and all outstanding issues would be referred to binding mediation arbitration.
The province has already launched a commission looking into the dispute. The university is now offering a tuition credit for those impacted by the strike, allowing students to retake a course without incurring any additional costs.